Today's session will be on UserForm modules. First, we'll understand what is this UserForm, and then we'll proceed with writing the macros on these forms what we create. Form is nothing but it's an input, say form where I'll be entering some data and that will be saved in my database. The database can be within Excel or it can be outside Excel as well. Let's go here and see this. See, I have created one table here wherein I need to collect all the informations and I'll put it here. Let's say I'll click on this form. I'll get one form like this and I'll try to enter some details. Just enter some details here. Then I'll enter my email ID. So this is how the user will actually enter their details. And let me select some courses and I'll just submit. It will get submitted like this. Now what we have to do to create such forms, we'll try to learn today about how to create this kind of forms, and then we'll start writing code for this so that we'll derive something like this. If I click on the submit, that should get saved in my database. Let me close this file, and I have one file similar to this, and we'll work on this. See, I have a table here. Let's save this. We'll go to our folder and we'll take this. Save. So first, I have created one table here. Then what we'll do, we'll go to our VBA editor. We'll start creating the form and then we start writing the code for that. How to create a form? Right click, insert. Here I have user form. If I click on this, I'll get a form like this. This can be resized like this. See, once I click on the user form, I'll get something called a toolbox here, which will help me in creating all the controls. What are controls? They are nothing but the kind of input box, say text box or combo box or something, where I'll be placing it in my form, which further I can use it for collecting the information. These are commonly used controls. Suppose if you want to add more controls, I can right click and say additional control. I'll get more controls here. So depending on my requirement, I can select any of these controls. Now what we'll do is we'll classify the task what we are doing today so that it will be easy for me to understand. First thing what I have to do is I have to create one form. Then I'll add all the controls here. That is, I'll be designing the form, and then I'll rename the controls what I've created, and then I'll write code or say macro on those controls what I have designed. First part, what we'll do is we'll try to design the form. Designing the form means placing these controls depending on the requirement of the database. First, let's understand what all controls I need. So how will I collect the information from these controls? The first thing is I have these details, that is the heading, say name, age, mobile, email, address. They're all the information where I'll collect by a user typing. That means we use text box for collecting the information. Gender. Gender is an option. Say I can select either male or I can select female. Suppose if it is male, if I've selected male, then I should get male as my input here. If I say female, then here in this cell I should get female. That means it's a selection. So that cannot be a text box. So what we'll do is we'll use something called as option button. Next, if you see this branch we can give the user for typing, but sometimes what will happen while user typing, you might do some spelling mistake. So when you do some analysis on this field, so I need to collect a kind of data where it should not have a wrong data. For that, what we'll do, we'll give a selection here. For that, we'll use drop down. Courses opted. Say I have so many courses. I cannot tell the user to select only one course. So you can opt for more. So what we'll do, we'll use something called as a list box for collecting the information in this cell. Alt F11, we understood what all controls to be used for collecting the information of these fields, and we have created one form here. We'll try to design the form by adding all the controls in this form. First thing what I'll do is I'll select this and I'll rename the form. How to rename? I'll say F4, and here it says UserForm 1. I'll say FRM details. Enter. Here you can see it still says UserForm. This is what we named is for the UserForm name. This is actually the label, or we call it as caption. If you go here, I have this caption. I'll say inquiry details. See, it got changed here. So this is my heading. When I execute this, I'll get a form like this. See, I'll say inquiry details. Let me close this. Next, I have so many controls here. So we'll start creating, we'll adding these forms here, the controls here to this form, so that I'll have a design. The first thing is I need to have name. We'll take this. This is label, which will help me in recognizing what kind of data I'm actually entering in the control. Let's take this label and I'll put it here. I can name this, just click on that and I'll say name. You can resize this and I'll keep it here. Next, for this is the label. For this I need one input control. We call it as text box. I'll select this and I'll put it here. You can drag this, so you can resize this. We can fit in the data what I type. If you click on this, see, I can type the details. So likewise, we'll start creating other controls as well. I have this name. Let me select this. I can say Control C, Control V, or I can also create a new one by clicking on this. Now let's say I want age. I'll go here and select this age. The width is too big for collecting just age, so I can reduce this like this. I can resize. Next one is gender. As I told you, gender is an option, that is, I can select any one of the values. So it can be a male or female. So what I'll do is I'll go here, I'll use this option button for that. Let me take this and I'll just click here. I'll get this as option button 1. I'll say male and I will resize this. Let me keep it here. I'll say Control C, say Control V. I'll keep this here, resize this and make it as female. For this I need a label. I can copy this or I can also create. See, I'll just create here and I'll say gender and we'll keep this label here. If you want, you can drag it a little more down so that you'll have some space. We are just designing now. Next one, mobile. So mobile number, again, it's an input. I can select this, say Control C and say Control V. I will keep it here like this. We'll go here, we'll name it as mobile. Next, we have email. I'll put this and I'll name this as email. So I got controls still here. Now I have this address. So for that, again, I'll take this text box. We'll put it here and we'll drag it down like this. Let's say address. I increase the height of this address because if I need to enter more details, so I can fit in it. Next, we have this branch and courses opted. I told branch can be a drop down. So let's go here. Here I have something called as ComboBox. I'll tell you why it is called as ComboBox. Let me keep it here. I am just using it. I'll just drag it, resize this. We'll take a label here, click here, and I'll say branch. We'll resize this and we'll move it. It is called as ComboBox because let me just run this. If I go here, see, either I can select the items in this list with the drop down list, or I can also type here. Let me close this. We can change this property later. I'll show you when we change these properties of all the controls. The combo box, it is called as combo box because it can be either typed or it can be selected, right? Next one is the list. If you see here, this is called as list box. Just click here. I will drag it down and then I'll take the label here and I'll put it here. I'll say courses. This is the design of the controls. So all the controls I've put here, which is there in this table. Let's go back. This is actually used to capture the data and put it in my table what we have created here. Next, after creating all these controls, I need one button wherein if I click on that, all these information will be collected and it will get saved in my table. So for that, we have one button, that is command button. I can just click here. I'll say submit. If I click on this submit, all the data what I have typed here should go and save in my table. Let me copy this and I'll paste it here and I'll say cancel. So we'll take one more button, that is cancel. Cancel means I've entered something. I don't want to save this. Just click on cancel. It will get cancelled. Let me just resize this so that it will fit in exactly to the controls where I've created. This is the design part. The first part I told you, first we should understand what are the fields I have, what controls I should use for each field. So this is first thing what you have to do. Second thing is, depending on the controls what I have decided, here I have to design the form. Once it is designed the form, see, I've designed the form. Next what I should do is I should go and rename the objects here, the controls. Why we should rename is when I'm actually writing a program, we should know that on which control I'm writing the program. For example, if you go here, see, I'll double click on this text box. It says text box 1. Let's come to my form. Let's say list box here. Double click, see, it says list box 1. Just click on any of this. See, it says the default name what it will get when I'm designing it. But I'll not know whether this is for address or this is for name or this is for courses. So for that, what we'll do, the next step, we'll try to rename all the controls which are used for writing the macros. How to rename? So what I'll do, select that control which you want to write program on that or say macros. Press F4, I'll get one property window like this. If you can see here, it says text box 1. That's what we saw when I double click on this. So I'll go here, say txt. I'm using this prefix so that I can understand what control I'm writing the program. This is actually a good practice. Even without this txt also I can write the program, but giving a prefix is a good practice while writing the program. Txt, I will say name. Just try to give the same field name so that it will become easy for me to recognize on which field or say which control I'm writing the macro. Select this. Say txt age, enter. Next, we have these buttons. These are option buttons. So what I'll do, I'll say opt mail. Select this and I'll say opt female. This one, all these three, what you see, they are text box. I'll say txt mobile. Let me select this. I'll say txt email. Then select this, say txt address. Done. Now coming to this control, this is a combo box. So what I'll do, I'll say cmb branch. Say enter. This is a list box. I'll say lst courses. We have two buttons here. We'll rename that as well. Select this. I'll say CMD because it is called as command button, or you can also use BTN, and I'll say submit, and here I will say CMD cancel. I renamed all the controls available in my form. There are labels here. People actually get doubt saying that whether I should rename this as well. See, renaming is left to the programmer. You can rename all the controls here or few controls also. I told you rename is actually used, the renaming of the controls are actually used so that it will be easy for me to write the program. So what best practice or what you have to think is, whichever control you are actually writing macro, if you rename that, that is enough. Or if you still think that you want to rename this, that is also fine. But label, since I'm not using in program, so I'll not rename this. Still, suppose sometimes if you want to have these labels in the program, or sometimes what will happen, I'm actually trying to update this label dynamically, then I can rename this label as well. Usually what I do is, if I want to rename this, I'll use LBL, that is label. So depending on the controls, I can use the prefix and rename it. So this step, we renamed all the controls. Next step is writing the macros. Now let's execute this once. Say FI, see, I'll get the form. My form will be like this. You can see this gender is getting touched here. So you can go here, you can just move it a little bit so that you can align it properly. Let's run this. Yes, perfect. Okay. Now we'll start writing the macros on this. Writing macros in form is very easy. How? Let me click on this submit, because whatever I'm entering here, if I click on submit, all the inputs what I've taken here, that should get saved. I'll say double click on this. See, it says submit underscore click. In the previous session we saw few events: selection change, workbook open. So all these are different events for different objects. Now what we see here, it says click. Click is an event. When I click, it will run the event when I'm clicking on that button. The event is triggered when I click on this button. So what should I do? Let me go here, save this. I will take all the values, whatever is there, whatever I've entered in these controls, and that should get saved here. So what we'll do is, we'll start writing the macro here. First, we'll see how many records have been entered. For that, I'll take one count equals count A, and I'll take the count from this cell. See, I don't have any records now. That is, 0 records have been captured in this table. We'll take this count here in intc as integer. Intc equals wks userform dot range of d4 dot value. Yes. Why this variable? I'll tell you. This is to capture how many records are entered here. Let's say, for example, I'll enter one record 1. See, that means one record has been entered. So likewise, if I keep entering, so it will give me the number how many records have been entered here. To track the records, I'll use this count. So I've taken this into one variable. Now what we'll do, we'll start capturing the records, or say the details which is entered in my controls. Say wks userform dot range of, here it says d6. I'll say d6 dot value is equal to txt name dot value. See, now it is very easy. Just I can type. If it was text box 1, text box 2, it will become difficult for me to recognize on which control I'm writing the program. Now it is very easy. I'll say text name dot value, which should be saved in d6. But what if this record is entered, and again if I run the program which is d6, it will get replaced here. So for that, what I should do is I have to do a change such a way that once I've entered the record here, And next time when I enter one more record, I should go to the next row. For that reason, I've taken this INTC. So what we'll do, we'll replace this 6. I'll remove this 6 and I'll say ampersand INTC. Now this says D, and in the beginning it will be 0. It is 0. So what it will do, it will say D0. That means in row in the address D0, I have to save this value, wherein D0 is not there. I have to save the data in D6. So for that I'll say plus 6. That means D0 plus 6. In D6 it will save text name dot value. Now for easiest way, what I'll do is all the text box values will save it. Which are all the text box values? Name, age, mobile, email, and address. So all these 5 fields actually capture text box values. So what I'll do, let me copy this. The easiest way I'm telling, instead of again and again typing and getting confused, I will paste it 5 times. Here I have this E6, which will save my age. I'll say E, and here I'll change this to age. Right. Let's go back. Here I have this mobile that is in G. Let me change this to G, and here I'll say mobile. Yes. Next, email, that is H. We'll go here. I'll change this to H, and here I'll change this to email. Next, address. Let me go back. That is in I. I'll say address. See, it's so quick. If you actually plan any macros, you can write very easily and without errors. Save this. Try to have the habit of keep saving it. Next is I have this option button, that is gender, wherein I should know whether it is male or female. So what I'll do, I'll go here, I'll write code for option button, that is male or female. Since option button is actually a kind of conditional statement, it is like whether it should be male or female, I should use if condition here. I'll say if opt male dot value is equal to true. See, this option button is not an input, it is selection. So here I should check whether it is true or false. I'll say opt mail dot value. If it is true, then else, and if it is male, then in this cell F, I'll go here. Let me copy this. I'll put it here. I'll change this to F dot value equals male. Otherwise, it should be female. That means if it is not selected as male, then it should be female here. It's a female. Now this also we captured. Now we'll capture these two. It's a branch and course. Let me go here. I will run this. See, branch is a selection and course selected is also a selection. I need to load the items for these controls. So for that, what I'll do, let me go back to my Excel sheet. Here I have captured two ranges wherein one says branch, other one says courses opted. Now what we'll do is we'll try to create a range name for this. Let me select this and I'll say in my address box RNG branch. Enter. What I did is I just created a hard-coded range. You can create say dynamic range as well. For that you can refer our Excel sessions. You can get this dynamic ranges. Let's go here. I'll create one more range for this and I'll say RNG courses. So what I'm trying to do is I'm just selecting the range and I'm giving a name here so that this can be used in my controls. It's very simple. Just select and type the name here. Now if you go here, see I have a drop down here, I have one arrow mark, click on this branch or click on this courses. See, fine. Say Alt F11. How to get this range into my control combo box and list box? Select this. I'll say F4. Now let's scroll down. Here I have something called as row source, which will help me in loading these items, I'll say RNG branch. Say enter. Select this. Select the list box. Here I have this row source. I'll say RNG course, or say courses what you've given. Say enter. This name should be exactly like what I've given in this range. If you are not giving a proper name, see here it says RNG courses. Here if I give, let me select this, and if I change the name or say give some name which is not available, see it will throw error. So better practice is what you do is after creating this, if you are actually giving the row source, select the range and here copy this, select this, copy this, and then paste it here. That's the best practice actually, instead of typing, so that if you have missed something or any spelling mistake is there also, it will just capture the same name. Done. Now let me go here, I'll run this. See, this is loaded now. As I told you, this one, see, I can also type here. Okay, now let's go here, select this, and here we'll go to this selection. See, this is for selecting of the list in the list box. But guys, this courses has to be selected. Say it should be multi-select. So for that, what I'll do, I'll go here, let me select this and scroll down. Here I have something called as multi-select. Here it says single, I'll make it as multi-select. Now let me run this. See, I can have this multi-select. But if you go here and check this, here it's an option button, that means it is single selection. When here I have single selection also, I had similar kind of selections. When I have multi-selection also, I'm getting the same kind of selection here. The user will get confused whether it's a multi-selection or single selection. So for that, what we'll do is select this and scroll down. Here I have something called as say list style. See, list style. Select this. Here it says plain and say option. See, this will get changed now. Here it says checkbox, so which will help me in understanding that this is a multi-selection. Let me close this. Suppose if this is a single selection, see what will happen, it will become an option button here. Let's go here, multi-select, and I'll say single. If I go here, see, it becomes like this control what we created. This is inside the list only, we have this option. See, let me close this. Since this is a multi-selection, so what I'll do, I'll go here and I'll select this multi-select as multi. Now let's capture the data what we have. See here, I can still type. See, I don't want this user to type here. He should only select. So for that, what we'll do, select this and scroll down. Here I'll have something called as selection style. See here, style, it says drop down combo, and select this as list. Now this will not allow you to type. See, I'll try to type, it will not allow me to type. So these are some of the properties what you can change so that you can start capturing the data. But here, this and this, we're still not coded. For this, if you want to code, what I'll do, I'll go to submit. And this is for, say, ComboBox. How to code on that? Let me just copy this. Here, ComboBox acts just like your text box. Let's go to Excel, say in J6. I'll change this to J6. Here we can say CMB branch.value. That's it. But capturing this list is actually multiple. If you go here, see, I can select the value like this. So I have to capture all this. That means this should be in a loop because there are multi selections. All this has to be captured and it has to be put into one cell. So for that, what we'll do, we'll use loop and capture all these values. And again, I'll tell you the index here starts from 0. That means how many items I have, let's count. Say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That means here I have 12 items. But the index starts like this. Say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Though it has got 12 items, the index always starts from 0. It will not start from 1. To recognize this, this will be selected item 0, selected item 1. That means the index, since it is starting from 0, I can loop it from 0 to 11 or 1 to 12. That means 12 items are there, but the index number changes. Let's go here. So what we'll do here, we'll start writing code for list box. Let's enter. I'll go here. We'll put that syntax of for loop, or we learned this in our previous session. Equals, I'll say 0 to, I'll put it as 11. In this case, if I put this as 11, next, what if the number of courses increases or decreases? Unnecessarily, this will become like a hard code. And if it is more, I might not capture the added items. If it becomes less, it will become more. Say, unnecessarily, it will run the loop. So how to make it dynamic? So what I'll do is, I have an option like this. Say, lst courses dot list count. This will count the number of items in the list. So this says 12. That means I have 12 items in the list. But for me, the loop should happen how many times? 11, up to 11. That is 0 to 11. So since this is 12, I want one less than this. I'll say -1. Then I'll say next int I. This loop I'm giving because to capture all the items what I've selected in list. Now I need to declare this variable. I'll go here. I'll say dim int as integer. These variables what you're declaring, you cannot declare it at one shot always. There are situations where as and when you keep adding your codes, you should keep adding the variables as well. Okay, so don't think that in the beginning only I should add all the variables. As and when you keep programming, if you get somewhere something like this, you can go on top and then insert the, or say declare the variable. Let's come back here. Now we understood that it has to be looped from 0 to 11. That is 12 times it has to loop. What we'll do is we'll capture all the values which are ticked or say selected. So for that I have to put one option saying that whether it is selected, then only take the value, otherwise don't take. Why should we actually capture the value which is not selected? So for that what I'll do, I'll say if lst courses dot selected. So this is the option what I should use. I told you the index number start from 0. That means this int I will be 0. I'll say int I equals true. Then end if. See, that means if the item is selected, then only capture it, otherwise don't capture. So what we'll do is we'll take the selected values into one variable. That is, we'll name it as str course as string. Save. Scroll down. I'll say str course equals str course ampersand. So we'll have a separator or a delimiter so that the courses will be separated by comma ampersand. Then here we'll capture that the selected list, say whatever I've selected that item will capture here. Say lst courses dot list of, say int I. So this will actually capture the name. This will capture whether the item what I've clicked is selected or not in the list. Now what we'll do after this, we'll try to put the value into this K6. That is here. Copy this and I'll paste it here and I'll say K6 dot value equals str course. Done. So we have coded for all the controls here. Now what we'll do, we'll go back and we'll see how we can capture the data from the user form. Let me run this. I have this user form. I pressed F5. Let's type ITAS, age, I'll enter, mail, and I'll type my mobile number, then my email ID, then address. If you want, you can type multiple lines here. Then I'll select one branch. Let me select, say, Python, and I'll say analytics, and also I'll say SQL. Now let's go and check. Since you're not checked, we just coded. Now I'll say submit and see whether all these records will be captured. Say submit. Let's check. See, ITAS from name, age 35, mail, then mobile number, email address, then your address, then the branch selected, and the value what I captured here, all the courses what I captured in list box. See, Excel, SQL, Python, Analytics. But can you see this? There is one comma and space here. I'll tell you why it will come and how to rectify this. Now, when I click on this, the form should get closed. This is one thing. And here we have to remove this comma and space. So these two things will change. And again, we'll try to say capture the data and see whether it is working properly. First thing is, we'll go here and we'll put this code to close as soon as I enter the data. For that, I'll say unload FRM details. Unload the form name. That's all. Let me save this. If you're working in the same form, you can also use a code like this, unload me. So anything is fine, either this or this. Usually this is the better practice so that you'll know which form you're closing. Otherwise also you can use this one. So both are same. Let's go and take this. We are getting that comma and space. You have to remove that. So what I'll do, I'll go here, say str course equals, I'll use this write function so that I'll take only the characters next to comma and space. I'll ignore that comma and space. So for that I should use a write function. I'll say write of str course comma, it lasts for the number of characters from right side. I'll say len of str course minus 2. So what this will do, from right side, I'm trying to take the number of characters, the total number of characters minus 2. That is comma and space. It has got 2 characters. Now we'll see those two options. That is, one is if I enter here and say submit, the form should get closed. Other one is we have this comma and space should be removed. Let's type name and say age. Now we'll capture female. Say, then I'll go here, gmail.com, type the address. I'll select the branch. Now let me select few other courses like this. And now if I click on submit, one is the form should get closed. Other one is data should capture the next line, and in courses opted I should not get this comma and space. Let's say submit. See, it got closed. Let's go back and check. See here, it captured the data and I don't have that comma and space. Yes, now everything is fine. That means the data is capturing, my form is ready. Let's go back. There are chances that sometimes this name or age or anything here might be ignored. See, if I go here and say submit, let me select something here, say submit. See, it is capturing this and this, but these two are blank. If you want to handle this, say the person who is entering, say the user who is entering the data for name or say age, he should not keep this blank, and also the age should be entered as a number. Let's assume that if the user typing text here like this and is capturing something like this, see, I have left a few things blank. Now I've not selected here anything. So here it says if it is selected as male, then it should be male. Otherwise I'll say female. So what it will do, if I'm not selected male, then obviously it will go to female as default. Let me select this male. I'll say submit. See, it is capturing the text as well in age. And age, you can enter more than 200, 300 also. It is not correct. So for that, what we should do, we should put some validation. So these validations After creating all this, after designing the form, then writing the macros, then start validating one by one. I'll show you a few of the validations. The rest will be similar to that. You can work on that. So I have captured in the example file, or say in the practice file, complete validations. You can go through that and you can practice. Here I'll show you few of them so that you can implement that in the programs what you're practicing. I'll put it as validation. Let's say I want to enter this name, so it is compulsory that I have to enter name, and in the name text box it should not have blank. So for that, what I'll do, I'll say if txt name dot value equals, say double quote, that means blank, then say end if. Let's go here. It says text name dot value, if it is blank, what should I do? I'll give a message box, please enter name, comma, I'll give VB information, comma, and a title, say ITAS inquiry detail. This is a title, and here I'll say exit sub. That means if I'm not entering any value in this text, it should give me this message, and then it should exit the program so that it will not go further to execute the codes. Run this. See, now I'll say submit. Can you see this? Please enter name. I can see the title also here. See, I have to type a name. Next, similarly, we also saw this age should have number, as well as it should not exceed, say, 100, or it should not be less than 0 as well. So that validation, how to do? Let me go here. This is for the age. Same thing you can copy here, and I'll paste it here. Here I'll say age. That means here age also should not be blank. I'll say please enter age. This is for the age, should not be blank. See, I'll go here, I'll enter something. Now if I say submit, see, it says enter age. Now age also will become compulsory. That means it is the required field. Now we'll go here, we'll try to validate. It should be a number, and also we'll say it should not take the input as more than 100 or less than 0. First we'll see for number. Say if is numeric of txt age dot value. Okay, is numeric means it is checking whether it is number or not. Now what we'll do is, if it is not numeric, then give a message. For that, how I'll do, I'll say not is numeric, then end if. Again, instead of typing the message, I'll just copy this and I'll paste it here. Here I'll say please enter age in numbers. This is for number. The next one is the age should be from 0 to 100. So for that, what I'll do, I'll go here, paste it, and here I'll say text age value if text age dot value is less than 0 or txt age is greater than 100, then please enter age between 0 to 100. Let me save this. See, I given 3 different validations for one field. That is, one is it should not be blank, other one is it should be number. If it is not number, then give a message. Then the other validation is it should be from 0 to 100. Let me execute this. Now let me capture something. Age, male, sorry, we'll try to validate this. The first validation, I'll say submit. It says please enter name. I'll go here, I'll enter some name. Now submit. See, enter age. It will not allow. I'll enter a text. See, please enter age in numbers. Now I'll go here, I'll try to enter 400. See, please enter age. That means you are validating every data what we are capturing here, so that we'll get the right data which will be saved in my Excel database or say in any database. That means now we have created a form, we wrote a macro for that, then we did the validations. Next is, see here, if I run this, it is opening when I'm saying F5. When I'm typing something here, when I say submit, what it will do, it will submit and it will close and it will go back to the VB editor. So what I want is, I want the form to be somewhere here. When I click on a button and should open here. So it should not always go here and say F5, because I cannot tell my client or say user to go to VB editor and press on F5 and then open the form. Right. What we'll do is, we'll go back, we'll create one button. Quickly we'll create a button, say insert, then here shape, we'll take a button here and I'll put it here. You can format it, go to this format, click here and click on any of these shadings you want. Then here I'll say open form and I'll make it bold, bold. If you want to increase the font, I can just increase the font. Now if I say right click, I should get that macro here. As a macro, I'll not get any macro here because you have not written any macros to assign. The macros what I have written here in this form is only for that form. Now to open a form, what I'll do, right click, insert, and I'll say module F4. I'll name this as mod underscore open form. Now in this module, we'll write a small code, say sub open form frm details dot show. That's all. So what it will do, it will just show the form. Now let's go back and say right click, and here I'll say as a macro, you can see that form here. See, open form. See, click on this. Now let me click here. See, I'll get this form. Let me enter. I'm just trying to enter from here. Age, female. Then say email. I'm entering all the details here. Let me select few courses as well. Now if I say submit, see, it is not going to my VB editor because it is open from the sheet only. See, it is capturing all the details. Now let's say I'll go here. I've entered all the details, but I don't want to save it. I feel that no, this is not right. So the details what I've entered, let me close this. If you click on this cancel, it should get closed. Now we have not written any code for this cancel. See, it will not happen anything. So what to do with this? Let's go to editor. Double click on this, and here just say unload. You can say me, or you can say unload frm details. Anything is fine. So I explained here when you are writing this code here. So anything is fine. So better practice is use this name of the form. It's actually good practice, but still you can use this unload me if you are writing within the form itself. Now let's go back. See, cancel. Right, let me save this. Now what we have done is we have given the database here like openly. But what will happen if you give this to the user to fill the form? They can go here, they can fill the form, say submit, it will get submitted, but you can see other details as well. Now how to secure this? So what I'll do, I will insert one more sheet. I will cut this button and I'll put it here in another sheet. Anywhere you just keep it here. I'm just keeping somewhere here, and I'll hide this. This is one way. There are so many other ways to protect, but I'm just telling you this is the one of the ways where you can capture the data and you can hide the sheet. See, let's go here. I'll try to capture the data. I'll say 26. Then I'll capture the email. then the address, all the details I'm just trying to capture, and then I'll select few courses and I'll say submit. See, it will be in this sheet only. Now let's go and check whether the data is captured. Right click, unhide, and say, see, this is captured. That means you can use something like this as well. So just to summarize the whole class, what we discussed. First we discussed about the fields what we are trying to capture the data. Then we also understood what all controls I have to use for each fields here. Then we designed the form by using these controls. Then we renamed all the controls which we used for writing program, and then we started writing the programs. After writing the programs, then we created some validation codes. And to open the form, what we did is we created one module and we created this one small form, or sorry, one small code here, which will help me in assigning the macro to this button. So this is what we have in our UserForm modules for today's session. Okay, hope you understood completely. Okay,